All right, we are back. So obviously, all of those that were watching, you'll have to pop back into the live stream. But we're back on YouTube and Facebook. Hopefully, we're not having the same issues. If it is, it's either a problem with the program that we use to live stream, or there's something wrong with the internet that's causing the issue tonight. I am not sure.
It's the wind.
So it could be the wind. Yeah.
And you know what they call the wind?
Yeah.
Maria. They call the wind Maria.
So we'll wait for our viewers to come back.
Now that we don't have anything to talk amongst ourselves with. That's funny. That's funny.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
But do they get a new link, Bill? How does that work?
It's not a link. They just go back to YouTube and Facebook, and they should be able to see that we're up live again.
Up live?
Yeah.
We're up live. Okay. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves.
In the meantime, and in between time, that's been another edition of the Podlie Podcast.
Yay!
Jamie says, "Oh, yay, better." William says Facebook is working. Okay, well, fingers crossed it continues to work. Like I said, if it goes bad again, then I have no idea what the problem is.
Just keep us posted, everybody. All right? Keep us posted. Let us know what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. And we can go from there.
Yeah, let us know if it goes south.
Anyway,
what is that expression people say? Oh, it's going south. Going south, in my mind, would be a good thing, right? West and south. Yeah. I mean, I want to go south for the warmth. I want to go west.
I'm going to say it's warmer.
I want to go west because the sun lasts, and because I mean you're following the sun.
Is the reference south to hell?
Well, I don't know.
Would you say? I don't know.
Possibly.
That's my guess.
But it says, oh, everything went south. Well, that would be nice. I'd like to go south.
That's my guess.
We already had that show, though, where we talked
we talked about that.
we talked about too many expressions. So now,
sorry, wrong show.
Now you're going back in time. All right.
Thank you all for sticking with us.
Oh, look, it's both working now.
Apologies and thank you.
Okay, so it's not repeating? So it's not repeating? So it's not repeating?
Stop it! Damn it! Jesus.
So those of you who won the points, we'll give them back to you. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, you will retain.
We're not taking away.
You will retain the points.
We're back. This is an encore of episode 187 of the Podlie Podcast.
Okay, now we have Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike Samchuk, how are you, sir? Are you two separate right now, or what's the deal? Or are you watching together? Are you together?
Flick them.
Jamie.
Jamie, we let you keep your points, so be nice.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to see who else signs in. Anyway, while we're doing
that, we'll just sit here and look at this. We'll just sit here and look at the screen.
We're going to get to that in a sec, but you didn't tell us how your week was.
Yeah, Paul.
Good.
You trying to get out of it?
No, well, there's nothing to tell. Hockey started.
A lot of traffic out there?
Hockey, lots of traffic. Lots of traffic. Lots of traffic out there. There's a traffic or two.
Let me give you a traffic report. Let me give you a
traffic report. And watch out between 137th Avenue and 66th Street. Yeah. 4 hours ago when I was working.
People, there's a lot of traffic out there.
There's a lot of traffic out there. End of report. Thank you very much.
It's like the weather report, right? Yeah. There's a lot of weather out there.
By the way, prescribed to Cialis. Thank you very much.
There's a lot of weather out there, people.
Mike says, I'm good. I was watching the slow-mo show, and I wanted to make sure that it was a new link because Mr. Kirkland started watching it over again with the echo.
That's awesome.
Echo. Yes, it is sad to hear about James Earl passing today. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. These are one of my heroes.
And Jamie says Jimmy's out in the big truck tonight.
Maybe that's the reason we had the echo, because was Jamie listening to us on his radio? Or it just caused
the echo.
Jimmy, I'm sorry. Yeah. Jimmy was in the big truck listening to us.
Yeah, in the infamous Star Trek lingo, it caused the temporal loop.
It did. Maybe it's those flat earthers.
Maybe it's the flat earthers.
Blame the flat earthers.
Leslie Ann, could you please check in?
Could you check in to see? Maybe we were bouncing off both sides of the edge of the earth.
Edge of the earth. That's right. That's right. You only get so far, and then all of a sudden, you bounce back.
Bang! The flat earthers were just throwing us right off. So anyway, there you go. So we got the traffic report. Here was our topic for tonight.
There we go, a bloody topic.
So,
So,
as we get older,
we experience
is personal
deja vu
growth
more often.
meaning, yes.
Sorry, start over, Bill.
Am I
Start
hearing
over.
things over and over?
Echo. Start over, Bill.
As we get older, is personal growth meaning trying new things, upgrading education, trying out a new career, reading movies, now I'm real, reading more, etc. Or is still something one should do, or should we just leave everything as it is? Like, meaning, do we continue to upgrade? Do we try new things? Do we try new reading as we get older, or do we just go?
Or do we just die?
Or do we just leave it and not do
jack.
anything? So, hello there, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
All of a sudden you popped on. Hopefully it wasn't your radio in your big truck that caused us to have a loop issue. We went silent there for a second. What happened? The whole room went quiet.
Okay, so
anyway, yeah.
the topic being, do we think that learning new things, etc., is something reasonable as we get older, or does it affect us, etc., in positive ways?
There's people in their 70s who've all of a sudden decided that they want to go back and get a master's or
get their education
or a degree. Maybe they didn't do it when they first went to college or university, or maybe they never went to college or university, whatever. So in their 70s, all of a sudden they said, I'm going to go back and do it. So you see these people that are graduating with their master's degree at like 77 years old.
And what's great about Canada, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not really 100% sure, but I believe you can actually audit any course and get a free. You can audit any course free in Canadian universities once you get to a certain age, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Is that true?
I believe that's
true?
how it works.
That's kind of a good news, bad news situation because you get older and you realize, oh geez, I really should have done this. I really should have done this. I really should have done this.
Which is here?
Really kind of bad news. But then the good news is that you finally realize, okay, it's life is not done. Life is you still have time.
Life is not done until it's done.
Life is not done. Hey, ain't over till the fat lady sings, baby.
Hey, whoa, wait, yo, man, that's body shaming. Marvin, how are you, buddy? Long time no see.
Marvin's got an echo happening.
Yo, sup?
And Jimmy, just out of curiosity, where you stopped? You said you stopped for the night, so.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Where are you, man?
Sitting at a truck stop somewhere? So anyway, Marvin says he plans on learning until he becomes senile. So yeah, I just thought, interesting to kind of see what other people's thoughts, were about this. Have you had to do upgrading in the past? Have you upgraded for certain reasons or certain things? Or have you just kind of, once you were done school, you were done? Or once you were done learning, you were done? Or
I know a bunch of people like that once they come out of high school, they never read a book again. And they talk a big game. Yeah. Like everybody talks about reading. What I find really interesting is that a lot of people talk about reading, but they don't actually read. So it's the strangest thing. And I don't know why that is. It's like, oh yeah, I read, and they talk about it, but then they don't actually read. And I'm not sure why this is something in our society that we do.
It's funny that you say that, Cliff. I always found it really funny when people say, yeah, I don't like reading. I don't like reading. And I don't quite understand what that means.
Or like
quite
Cliff said,
frankly.
They say, I like reading. Oh, what did you last read? Well, I haven't read a book in a year.
Well, I don't,
And so in terms of that, just to throw this out there, I know we started the conversation about learning and then we automatically moved into the school thing. We learned about getting a master's when we're younger and so on and so forth. But that's one part of learning, but there's a million other ways to stay learning and to stay current. And yeah, so what are your thoughts on that, Podlie? I know it's Bill's topic. He should go first, but I mean, he's jamming out.
I'm deferring.
He's deferring. Last time he deferred to me.
I'm deferring.
So now we're deferring.
I mean, forever, like
Marvin doesn't like reading, by the way.
Forever learning.
Marvin doesn't like reading.
Yeah.
Forever learning.
What you learning, Podlie?
I think I'm always trying to. Well, I think I mentioned this I'm trying to finish reading all of the quote unquote 100 greatest novels of all time. I'm still trying.
What number are you on?
I'm not doing them 1, 2, 3. I think I've read 19. I think I've read 19 out of the 100.
Out of the 19.
And obviously it's a subjective list.
Sure. Out of the 19, what's your favorite so far?
That's
Tough to do. Tough to say.
Of Mice and Men is wonderful. The Grapes of Wrath is beautiful. Oh man.
Hey, wait a minute. Who's Grapes of Wrath?
Steinbeck.
Steinbeck. That's right.
Steinbeck.
Yeah,
They're
a
that's
good
funny
band, too.
It's a great
Steinbeck.
band. Yeah, that's funny. I actually have East of Eden sitting on my dresser at home.
My favorite novel of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Kill a Mockingbird.
Amazing. Harper Lee's amazing. Yeah. So I mean, I'm still trying to get 100. I'm still trying to learn an instrument. I'm still trying to learn an instrument, although I've done that to myself. I've stagnated with that. But always. I mean, I've lucky enough to have a second language.
Yeah.
Already, and I started that from when I was 4 years
So
old.
do you ever read in French?
Not anymore, buddy.
Okay.
Not anymore. In my adult life, yes, I used to. I did.
You're not an adult anymore?
I'm in my past adult life. How do you say that? Past, yeah. I did took.
Cool.
I did try and get back my reading.
Yeah.
Orally, I'm not bad.
Yeah.
In French.
I would think that reading in another language, I would think that would accelerate your retention and whatnot, right?
I would say so.
Because I tried
Probably,
reading.
Yep.
I tried reading in Spanish when I was studying Spanish. I got a book. Speaking about reading, for better or worse, some people ridicule the book and some people love it. I don't know where I stand on the book, but it's a book by Paulo Coelho called The Alchemist. Oh, it's a book written at a very low level English and all that type of jazz, so it's not challenging from a language perspective.
Yeah.
And I'll get to why I'm saying that. It's not challenging from a language perspective, but it's a very interesting story. It's a good philosophical story in whatever. But because it's written in a very sort of everyday language, I thought, well, there's a Spanish edition, and if I'm trying to learn Spanish, then everyday Spanish language is a good thing to do.
Must be easy.
Yeah, so I bought the book in Spanish, and then I bought the audio book in Spanish, and then what I would do is I would hold the book in front of me and read along with the audio book.
That's a good idea,
Right?
Cliff.
And what happens is all of a sudden is I'm hearing Buddy speak to me in Spanish. I'm getting the backup because I'm reading it, and my eyes are seeing it. And then sometimes I tried to say the words along with the audiobook. So you get this quadruple, triple, whatever going.
It's a hell of an idea, dude.
Yeah, so in my mind, if I get back to Spanish, which I really so badly want to do, if I get back to Spanish, I'm going to really start to accelerate things in terms of that.
All right.
Good idea.
I'm just sorry. I'm just skipping back here because I saw Laura put a comment up here about William James Kirkland. So William James Kirkland just posted. Nicole's asking something about
Saturday.
There we go.
Look at that. That was in unison.
That was perfect. Anyway, and just back quickly. Marvin says he likes skimming.
Marvin's
James,
like skimming.
James
Is that like skiing, Marvin? Except like
well, then later Marvin says, and no in capital letters. I wasn't in the pool.
It was not in the pool.
James G, which is
James G.
Our friend James says reading can be a luxury for some people. Reading takes time. Some people don't have that.
And it's funny, James, it's funny that you say that because in trying to get through the 100 greatest novels of all time, it takes me like a year to get through a novel because just that point, I just don't have the time.
Okay, no. Okay, I take but I take umbrage with that. I'm sorry, I really do. Right, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows I'm a busy guy, so don't get me wrong. But I think we have time for the priorities in our life. If you watch 82 hockey games, you have time to read.
You have time to read. Agreed.
Okay? If you go to every concert, you have time to read.
Agreed.
If you can go sing karaoke, and I'm picking on you, Paul, because I do the same thing, music becomes a priority. If I go do the podcast every Monday night, I have time to read.
Agreed.
Right? So in my mind, and James, I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diminish what you're saying. What I am saying is that reading in our society, as I see it currently, is not a priority, and that's why we don't do it. And it should be, and I got a million reasons why it should be, and those who know me know that I am a huge advocate for reading. And I think, just to end this thing, because that's not what we're talking about, just to end this thing, I will tell you something quite unequivocally. My opinion is, I never said this originally, but my opinion agrees with this. The person who does not read is literally no better off than the person who cannot read. So take that for whatever you will, but in my mind, that is truth.
I can't argue with that. I agree.
So Marvin says, when I was in school, I got nothing from reading, but interesting enough, if I copied my notes from the chalkboard or book and typed it out, I could retain the knowledge.
It's awesome.
Very
It's awesome,
cool.
Marvin. We
Very
all learn in different ways, my friend, and that's definitely one way to learn.
And
You know, and just if I can touch on that, Marvin, along with reading, it's funny. You talk about audiobooks, Cliff.
Yep.
I'm not an audiobook guy. And Marvin, the way you learn, I'm really tactile. I love a book in my fingers.
Like the feel of it, eh?
I love the feel of it. I like the smell. I love the page turn. I love it. I've never listened to an audiobook in my entire life. I will buy the physical copy of the book. I just love it. I love it. Yeah.
Nice.
Amy, reading in another language or watching shows in other languages with English subtitles are great ways to expand your mind in learning other languages.
100%, Amy, and I used to
100%.
do that when I was learning Spanish as well. I watched every show, especially shows that I knew very well. That like, here, everybody can tell me what an idiot I am, but I've watched some MASH episodes many times enough to know the whole dialogue right through.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I would watch the episode with Spanish titles. And then what I would do is watch the same episode in Spanish without any subtitles because I knew what the English dialogue was anyway.
Yep.
And so when I was immersed in it, honestly, you do learn a lot quicker, right? So yeah, that's definitely something.
It's funny because when I was in China too, and I went on this big Chinese film phase. I wanted to see Chinese film, Gong Li and Bruce Lee
Yeah.
and anybody, and they all have English subtitles, obviously, all of them.
Yeah.
Now, just be careful for those of you that are the beginning stages of trying to see a different language film with English subtitles. Often, at least in Chinese, they were not right.
Right.
They were incorrect. The
Right.
subtitles were incorrect. Just be careful. But that's what I used to do too. I used to see a lot of Chinese films with the English subtitles that were really, really bad.
Yeah.
Andrea says, I took Spanish in university as an elective. It was definitely a brain stretch. I worked so hard and barely passed.
Yeah.
Any second language is definitely a brain stretch, Andrea. But just to sort of slide us back onto topic, I'd love it if we used your comment as a springboard to actually get to sort of segue back into the topic. You talked. I like that word that you used. You said you took Spanish as an elective, and it was definitely a brain stretch. I like that phrase, brain stretch. I think that's very cool, and I think that's very appropriate and very apropos of an expression for what we're talking about today, which is the constant, never-ending learning as we get older.
Right. No, for sure. And again, that was kind of the whole thing of it, right? Like if you had the opportunity, Cliff, and just came through, somebody said to you, Cliff, why don't you go back to university and get a master's in whatever? And that opportunity was
Heartbeat.
there.
Heartbeat, I'd be there. I would love it. My first question would be, what courses do I take?
That's what I was going to ask. What would you do?
I've got so many interests that I don't know how I would thunk it down. I would need a counselor to be able to thunk it down.
Yep.
Because I have no idea. I mean, I would love to challenge a master's degree in a million different things. But does it have to be formal learning, Bill?
No, it doesn't have
like
to
when
be.
we talk about ongoing
have to be.
learning, does it have to be formal learning?
100% no.
No.
100% no.
So what do you think then? What do you think are the advantages? Obviously, I don't see anybody that would say there's a disadvantage to learning new things as you get older. And I don't think anybody, certainly on the podcast or certainly over here, would think that, yeah, once you're out of school, you're done, or, I'm happy with my life right now the way it is and I don't need to learn anything more. I don't think any of us would say that. Right? So perhaps we could say, well, what are the benefits? Is there a downside? If not, there's a downside. What are the benefits of, and I mean actually learning something. I'm not talking about finding something that you already do and necessarily, no, I'm not necessarily talking about something that you already do and getting better at it, even though that's something great. I'm talking about learning a new skill, a new way of thinking, all these sort of things. Like what would be the benefits of it? I think we should perhaps talk about that.
And sorry, just quickly looking here. I just saw one comment. What was the one I was looking at? My wife loves books. Saw that one. Oh, So Mike is asking, he's not sure if this is the first quarter of the show or the middle of the show because of the restart. And I know in real time it's past 8:30 now.
This is the first start of the second part of the encore. That's what this is.
Start of the second part of the encore.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Hey, Mike, try and keep up. Hey, jeez.
No, I know what Mike's getting at is, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first part of the second half. Something like that.
Yeah, we hope you're learning something tonight while you're watching this episode.
So Andrea says, I've started listening to audiobooks for my commute to work. I like listening to audio and also have the physical copy in front of me when I'm relaxing on the couch. Andrea, 100%. I tell you what, one of your favorite people, certainly one of mine, does the same thing. Less than, if she's trying to catch something and trying to really get a handle on it, or she loves a book. I mean, she did this with, it seems to me she did this with Albert Camus's book, or Bradbury, I can't think of which book it is now. But she did that with that because the book was quite sort of intense, and she really wanted to understand the concept of it. So she actually bought I bought it for her. She bought the audiobook and sat down with a book in front of her and listened to the audiobook and read the book at the same time. That is a fantastic idea. If somebody's trying to get something into their brain, it's difficult to find a better way to do it.
By the way, it looks like Leslie Ann just took the points and ran.
It took the points and ran, eh?
I haven't seen her back. So.
She went to get a drink and didn't come back.
I was just going to say, she went to quench her thirst. She goes, I got 3,500 points.
Yeah.
Boom. I think I'll go quench my thirst.
Stay hydrated the rest of the podcast.
She obviously got busy.
But you're right. It doesn't have to be, actual, like I say, going back to
like formal study, whatever. Yeah.
Formal studying, as some people have already stated here. I think you have to look at ways to learn every day.
Right.
And that's not
in
a
different
formal
ways.
study
In
hall.
different ways.
You're learning in different ways.
Yeah.
Whether it's something that maybe somebody has said to you which you hadn't really realized, or
Hadn't thought
somebody's
about.
provided a thought to you that you hadn't really thought about it in that way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And new skills. I mean, I took up. I've ditched it the last number of years, but I took up drumming when I was, 2015. Took up drumming. Got back to my guitar. Blah blah blah. So, I started motorcycle riding. Bill, you started motorcycle riding. That's a new experience for you.
Adventure, yeah.
It's a new adventure for me. New experience for me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think. Well, let's break this down from an actual science point of view, right? There are, the sort of the most important thing I think we all need to realize in all aspects and parts of life is that never are we standing still. We are either going backwards or we're going forward. There's never a standing still, and that I think is the crux of everything. I'll finish this in just a second.
Leslie Ann's back.
So Leslie Ann says it's news to her that the points are exchangeable for thirst-quenching beverages.
You didn't read the fine print, Leslie Ann.
Well, Bill said you took the points and ran, so what else could we assume? That you would, exchanging the points for beverages, for bevies, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to get back to what I was saying, either we're never staying the same, right? No physical thing that is alive is staying the same. So, fact of the matter is, there's two concepts in science that we know of that, what the hell do I know about them, but I know of them. Entropy and neuroplasticity as it pertains to the brain. So entropy, if you are a person that goes to work, does the same job, etc., comes home, watches TV or reads the same book, whatever, but watches TV, goes to bed, gets up in the morning, does that, and same thing for however many years.
Groundhog Day, yeah.
Your brain is most definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, in a state of what I would guess is great entropy. All right? And you are diminishing your brain. Your brain is literally being diminished right in front of your eyes. You just don't know it.
Yeah, if you're not testing it or using it.
If you're not, and that brings me to the neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is literally the creation of new synapses in the brain. So the fact of the matter is, for those who are possibly interested who don't know, you can look it up on Google, I'm sure, on Wikipedia. But the fact of the matter is, your brain takes a certain path every single time it takes the same path to, and this is I'm saying this for a reason, so I'm sorry if it's going to take a little extra seconds, but fact of the matter is, if you do things in the same way, you will think the same way. When you think the same way, these neural pathways become hardened. They literally become hardened, and then you will constantly use the same way of doing things. And it's literally a physical path, a neural pathway that is created, and it's like going down a gravel road. It gets packed down and packed down and packed down and packed down and packed down until it's so jam-packed that if you were to change, you wanted to change the road, you would need to dig it up to change the pathway. It's very similar to the brain. These neural pathways, if you continue with the same neural pathways, you literally cement it in and you hardwire it in. So what happens now if you choose to do the same thing in a different way? Let's talk about physically or thinking or reading. What happens is you create new pathways. And then as you tread those pathways, you cement those pathways in. Here's the fascinating part. The fascinating part is if you read a new book, if you read a new subject, if you think about something new, if you watch a program that makes you think differently or think, what happens is these thought pathways become intermerged with other thought pathways to create brand spanking new pathways. So neuroplasticity actually literally changes the structure of the brain. You cannot experience neuroplasticity unless you're learning something and challenging your brain.
Yourself challenged every day.
Not just learning something, but actually challenging your brain. You cannot create new pathways. And if you cannot do that, guess what's happening? You're in entropy. Okay, and how's that for a freaking monologue? I'm sorry about that.
Andrea said basically neuroplasticity, brain stretch. That's what it is. It's brain stretch.
Well,
Stretches your brain.
But it's more than that. Like I was just talking about.
Sure, but to put it in layman's terms, it's a brain stretch.
It's actually creating new.
Throwing it there, and it's plastic.
No, but Paul, that's not quite the concept, my friend. Yes, it stretches the brain, but not in terms of that. It actually creates new pathways. So it's not stretching the brain. It's actually creating new pathways within the confines of it, which is more fascinating than brain. I like the term brain stretch, but that's not. That's what people think when they think neuroplasticity, because you think elasticity, right? And that's fine. That's a good definition, but I think it's very important to understand that the routines of life that we constantly choose, and I'm not talking physical routines, I'm talking that as well, but often the thought patterns. The reason why our political function right now is in complete disarray, the reason why our democracy is in disarray is because people think the same way all the time. And the reason they think the same way all the time is because they never take the time to investigate the other side. They never take the time to look at other ways of thinking. So what happens is you absolutely cement these neural pathways, and then the people that vote liberal go, I'm liberal, I vote liberal. And then the people that are conservative go, well, I'm conservative, so I vote conservative. How about you go out there and you actually learn something about the other side, read about the other side, understand the other side. What will happen is your pathways to certain conclusions will change, and those pathways will give rise and give space to other pathways to open up. And that's what neuroplasticity is, the ability to be able to change the pathways and actually divert the pathways into new and more exciting pathways, and new and more exciting and all-encompassing thoughts. And that's the argument for constant, never-ending learning.
Marvin says, a few times people have asked me what happened to the part of my brain that had to remember phone numbers. I tell them it now has to remember passwords.
Suzanne Louise. Ms. Suzanne, a long time no see.
Yeah.
Happy to see you on here. And she says it's never too late to learn something new.
Yeah. And then Andrea's got a long one here. You want to read that one, Paul?
Research has mentioned before that challenging your brain helps depression. Sudoku puzzles, crosswords, word search, etc. Reading a book, meditation. That is one thing out of many things that helps depression.
Andrea, you couldn't be more correct.
Yeah.
Right? In the infamous words of Chandler, could you be more correct?
And as Suzanne says, it's never too late to change your opinion and perspective.
100%, Suzanne. The only issue that I take with that, I agree with you 100%, is that people don't actually look or read or engage and ingest anything other than what they already know. That's my biggest pet peeve about a lot of what's going on in society today. people are constantly re-engaging the same pathways of their brain without ever creating new ones as it pertains to many, many opinions that we hold. And I think in terms of that, learning something new every day, I would even go far as to suggest to reading things and learning things that are totally outside of your ballpark and totally outside of your purview, right? I mean, learn something that is so far away from you, like absolutely outside of your personality. I mean, if you're a klutz, learn to become a drummer, like start learning drumming.
Challenge yourself.
Challenge yourself. I tell you what, challenge yourself using your alternate hand. If you always use your right hand for a certain activity because that is your dominant hand, try doing that same activity with your left hand.
Or it could be something as simple as even if you something is maybe not working correctly or broken, rather than try to get somebody else, challenge yourself, see if you can fix it.
See if you can fix it. Try, right?
And it's kind of funny because I just talked to my kids about this. You know, we have a dominant eye. You know, I mean, often you use your right eye, you use your left eye. And I said to my kids the other day, I said, try to focus with your other eye, just for a little while.
Just for a bit.
Just for a little while. Try and focus with the other eye. I mean, something, you know, right hand, left hand, same thing. Same thing.
I'll tell you, right? Years ago, I used to hang out a lot with my cousin Kevin, and actually not my cousin, that's his cousin. But anyway, him and I used to get into some serious debates, and he was very pro something, or I was very pro something, whatever the case may be. And very often, and I would ask anybody to do this, and I think it's a fascinating idea, personally. I don't know who does it, but I think it's a fascinating idea. What I would ask him to do is, okay, let's change. Let's trade. I'll argue based on your side, even though I don't agree with you. And you argue as though you're on my side, even though you don't agree with me. And I tell you what, let's see who wins. So if I argue based on your side or debate based on your side and I'm winning, that tells me I understand your side very well. I just don't damn well agree with it.
Yeah.
And if you're debating me and you take the other side and you debate me based on my opinions and you're quote unquote winning the debate, that tells me you understand perfectly what I'm saying. You just don't agree with it. Because right now a lot of people say, if you don't agree with me, you obviously don't understand. Because if you understood, you would agree with me.
So quickly.
Understood.
Laura says, however, you have to want to expand your mind. Some people choose that how they think is how they are happy to think. They don't want to learn something new.
100% agreed.
Yeah. Interesting one here from
Suzanne.
You want to read that one, Cliff?
Suzanne says, I learned how to play classical music on the acoustic piano, and now 50 plus, I'm learning to use how to use a synthesizer and play rock music. My brain almost feels younger. You know what, Suzanne, by the way, just so you guys know, to fill you in, she just joined a band. She became the 5th member of a 5-piece band.
Nice.
And she's playing keyboard and singing harmonies.
Cool.
Booyah! Suzanne, that's precisely what I was talking about earlier, right? I mean, I tell you what, it's funny, right? After a number of years leaving my guitar, I picked up my acoustic guitar some years ago and started replaying again. It took me some time, even though I picked it up, I put it back down again, I picked it up, put it back down again, blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Pick it up, I put it
anyway, so then when I picked up the acoustic again and started picking, and I'd always only used these 3 fingers for picking, very much the Paul Simon, Travis picking type person. And I decided, you know what? Screw this noise. I have an extra finger. I would like to use it. So then I was always using these 3, thumb and 2 fingers, and I added this one right here. That's not the one you're thinking it is.
Careful.
I ordered this one right here, which is the ring finger on my right hand. And I started using 4 fingers. And now I had to change my entire process of how I pick. Let me tell you something. That took some doing.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I sing and play. So now I'm using this whole other way. I literally changed the entire way I played the damn instrument, which is the most ridiculous thing to do at my age. But I took it and I started using these 4 fingers instead. And I'm still quote unquote struggling with it sometimes and go back and then realize, oh, no, you're using, you know. But I tell you what, that's fascinating. Like, it's really amazing what it does to the body and the brain. So I'm with Suzanne. I think that's fascinating.
I was just going to agree, too. The more you challenge yourself, even as you're getting older, I think the younger it makes you feel.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You don't feel like you're getting older.
Hey, listen, man, when I get behind the drum set, I'm no big drummer, but let me tell you something. When I get behind the drum set, knowing that I'm not a drummer and I only recently learned and all that type of stuff, and I'm a rank amateur, and when I put down a beat, Man, it feels good. It makes me feel very young. It makes me feel fantastic.
But then can we add like a long curly-haired wig? For
picture-
that?
I would
need the wig.
Behind drum?
Yeah.
Picture animal from the Muppets
You gotta
over
have the
here.
hair flying when you're playing.
Yeah, I gotta have the
That's
hair
right.
flying and play. That's right.
What else do we have? There's a couple more.
Marvin says he's ambidextrous in most sports, but still can't write left-handed. Hey, that's pretty cool though, Marvin. I'm ambidextrous in one sport for certain: eating. I can definitely go.
I'm pretty good with that as well.
I'm really good with that, though.
Eating. I always found it funny, Marv. Just on topic, off topic. I always found funny. I'm left-handed. I'm left-handed dominant, right left-handed, but I shoot hockey right. So I always find it funny how the brain can kind of do that a little bit. Can dominate parts of your activities.
I know.
I find it funny.
I have a friend of mine that actually shoots hockey stick on the left. He's a righty.
Yep.
He shoots hockey stick, of course, on the left.
Yep.
And of course, he golfs on the right. And when he plays baseball, he picks up the bat and plays left.
I've got
I'm like, you are a freak.
my twin boys. One writes left-handed like me. One writes right-handed. But the left-hand writer shoots hockey right. The right-hand writer shoots hockey left. It's a cool thing,
It's a cool thing, yeah.
It's a cool thing, and it's a cool thing the brain does.
Yeah.
I think it's wild.
Leslie Ann, by the way, I don't think we read this comment.
The opening of the other pathways gives us the opportunity, to solve problems we were unable to solve before, because new ideas are meshing into the mix.
You know, that's 100% correct, right? It's what I was saying earlier. When you take different pathways and you actually cement these pathways in the brain, if you end up at the same place, how you got there becomes different. And now your nuance of that opinion, you might arrive at the same opinion anyway, but the nuance of that opinion now would be much greater than if you just stayed with your same pathway to coming to that, right? There are people that walk home, get in their house, turn the TV on, and it's on CBC. That's it.
Yeah.
So now you have literally ingested and blindfoldedly ingested everything that the CBC believes, you now believe. Because you have created this neural pathway that just takes in completely, utterly, unthinkingly everything that CBC says, right? And that's the same with Fox. That's the same. Pick any station. I'm not picking on CBC. Pick any station. What I'm saying is there are people that come home, they listen to the news, they always listen to the news on CTV or something. Well, guess what? You're literally going to think like these people unless you yourself decide to go and find alternate ways of thinking. You are going to think like everybody else.
Yep.
And Leslie, just to cap her comment, she says, and that's how you arrive at an elegant solution. 100% correct, Leslie. I couldn't agree with that more. Because a lot of people arrive at solutions, but it's not a very elegant solution. And we are smart people as a race. As a people, we are smart people. So we should be able to come to more elegant solutions for many of the things that plague us nowadays, including, for God's sakes, including of how we allow politicians to run our world.
Yeah. Mike, back talking about writing again. So Mike says, I'm the same as Podlie. I write left-handed and eat left-handed, but I play sports right-handed, bat right, shoot right, and throw with the right hand.
Yeah, it's wild, Mike? Yeah,
It's just the way. That's very common. It's a very common.
Fun to see my twin boys.
Yeah.
One right hand dominant, one left hand. It's so fun to see.
It's a very common.
Agreed,
It's
Mike.
a very common
really
thing. It's cool.
And that's why you have switch hitters in baseball, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
William says, I can write cursive with both left and right. Right is slower. I can also box with either arm leading.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool,
That's
William.
cool. I'd have to think about that.
I tell you
Yeah,
what,
'cause
cursive.
You're going up here or you're going
Oh,
up
that's
there.
weird for me, actually.
cursive
Boxing's a
writing
good
It is
example.
a
This one's weird for
feeling,
me.
right? Yeah.
See, and this one's my feeling, because
Yeah,
I like this.
Which way you want to go, right?
I like because I'll jab left. That's my dominant. Yeah, that's a good point. Boxing. Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's good. I tell you what, one of the coolest things I would like to do sometime, I won't, but is to switch the guitar up and play left-handed. That would be crazy.
Well, you look at Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah.
So he was a left-hand guitar player, but they didn't make guitars back
So
then.
he
Back
played
then,
right
that's
hand.
exactly right,
Well,
Bill,
he
yeah.
actually flipped the guitar over and changed the strings.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah, just played
He
that way.
did.
Yeah.
So the low E was now up, and the so he just flipped it around.
flipped
and
it around,
That
yeah.
just
adjusted it to
blows
work
my.
for him.
I can't.
That's crazy,
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a ukulele.
Crazy.
There's a ukulele player out of the UK, He does some YouTube videos and stuff like that. He's crazy. The ukulele is literally, it's strung for a right hand, but he plays it left hand. So all of the chords and everything else are bloody well backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
It's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? And I'm listening to the sounds, and of course my eyes listening to the sound is not congruent because I'm watching his fingers.
Yeah.
And I see him hit the high notes.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it's a low note. So I'm listening to that, but it's so amazing to watch, right?
You know, it's funny because when I was, 40 years old, when I was shopping for a guitar, and I was talking to my dad, he's been playing guitar for 50 years, 60 years.
He must be really tired.
He's
a long time.
It's a long time.
Hopefully he takes a break once in a while.
Boy, is his fingers. Anyway, and he says, well, he says, do you want to take lessons? I said, yes. I said, well, he says, it might be a good idea if you switch the guitar to right-handed because most of your teachers are going to be right-handed. And I said, and I tried this. Like, look, I don't even know how the hell to do this. Do you know? And I said, no. I said, Dad, I cannot do this. So I'm a left-handed guitar player because it's just it makes sense to me.
Actually, no, whatever you call your dad or whatnot. But I'll have you know, if you have a right-handed teacher and you're a left-handed player, you have an advantage.
Because it's kind of like a mirror.
Because it's a mirror.
It's a
mirror.
It is. That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Kind of like a mirror.
Otherwise, what happens is you're looking at that person playing and it's difficult to follow.
True that. Yeah. Very
Right?
true.
So
Very
technically,
true.
if most guitar players are right-handed, being a left-handed guitar learner is actually a good thing.
So that's what I kind of discovered. That's what I kind of discovered in that. But yes, so
yeah. So Leslie Ann says, speaking about left-handed and right-handed, Leslie Ann says that reminds her of the Princess Bride. The first duel started as a left-handed.
James G says, jab with your non-dominant arm. So yeah, so if you're like this,
that's why I just tried to do it. It was weird.
Jab this way and then jab that way.
Oh wow, weird.
Seems we have some fighters in the group.
Yeah,
I feel just as comfortable. Mind you, I couldn't fight my way out of a paper bag, but I feel just as comfortable doing this versus this.
Yeah. Oh, see, not me. If I'm jabbing with my right, it's weird. I'd miss. Let's put it that way.
Leslie Ann says, hey, your ukulele should be strung left-handed.
Yeah, yeah, maybe so. Leslie Ann, maybe so.
Yeah, that could very well be.
That would definitely be. Wow, holy smokes! I never thought of that. That's what I should do. I should get a ukulele and learn to play it the opposite way.
Yeah, see, I would
the opposite way that I play the guitar.
Yeah, see, I play this way, and then to try and figure. Yeah, wow.
See, I'm good this way.
That'd be a
I'm
good
okay
challenge.
with that. I try to chew, like I was mentioning earlier. I try to chew with my non-dominant side of my mouth. I try to do that sometimes, which is weird, but So yeah, just switching back and forth.
All right, so just to let everybody know, if you have joined us or came in a little bit later, we did have technical issues at the beginning of the podcast, so we actually had to shut down the live stream and start again. So if you're looking at it and going, well, it's now 8:56 p.m., and our time on the podcast says we've only been doing it for 42 minutes. That's why.
That's why. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to I don't know where we are
So
in the
this
podcast.
is the first half of the second part of the encore. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So as you've watched 187 mindless hours, trying to, at that point, do a brain stretch or move.
Has there been any plasticity involved? Possibly entropy, but no.
Neuroplasticity, this, my friends.
Yeah. But
Marvin.
yeah, I just chew on.
So Andrea says her parents watch the National every night. And you know what? I'm guessing then, Andrea, if I were to guess, that their opinions wholly align with what is happening on the National, wholly align with what the National thinks in terms of politics and whatnot, right? I'd be curious to know.
And Marvin says that's why he likes listening to YouTube most of the time, because you can find alternative views.
You can find, but you got to look for it, because I tell you what, the algorithm will give you more of what you already see. Mm-hmm. So if you watch a right-wing podcaster on YouTube, and if you watch him, the algorithm will feed you more right-wing podcasts. If you watch a left-wing podcast, the algorithm would feed you more left-wing podcasts.
Now,
so
if you're a right-winger, though, you might be able to be a left-winger, just depending on if you're ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous or not, that's right. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, you have to go and look for something alternative or alternate to what you're thinking. And I think that's possibly, if you want to get back to the politics of the day for a moment, that what I think is the most detrimental thing. We all have a confirmation bias. If somebody thinks they don't have a confirmation bias, they have a confirmation bias about the fact that they have a confirmation bias.
Yeah.
So we all have a confirmation bias, every single last one of us. So knowing that about ourselves, it is incumbent upon us to seek out and discover new ways of thinking, because then we can bridge the gap between, that's you and that's me, and find the middle ground, because we all want the middle ground. I've talked about this a million times. The middle 80% of us want the same thing. We want to feed our kids. We want some good schools. We want some food in our stomach. We want some good alcohol, good wine at the table. We all want similar things, right? It's only the extremists that want to think. And all of these 80% of the people that are in the middle, what do? We go to work, we come back, we feed our kids, we do this, we do that, right? So in terms of that, I think you have to really seek out the other side. And the only way to seek out the other side is to be constantly learning about your side and their side. But the only way to create new thoughts is to go outside of the boundaries of what you currently think. And that's what learning is.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm going to duck and pick up my other stick.
Normally, as a drum tech, I would pick it up for him. But, but he's going down to get it. So Leslie Hand says, I used left hand for telephone number pad back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then the calculator keypad with my right hand, because they are different.
Different, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the telephone's different. And I remember her, boy, old school on the number pad.
Yeah.
Like on the keyboard and the number pad. Just whack. Just like, what the hell?
Nicole is heading out. Yeah,
Bye, Nicole.
Bye, Nicole.
She saw that it is almost 9 o'clock. So
Thank you for showing up, and thank you for sticking around the second time around. We appreciate that.
yeah, thanks for hanging out, and for everybody coming back after we were on for about 5 minutes or so, 5-6 minutes ballpark, somewhere in that range before we realized we had that big issue. So
William, I like what you said, that you manually search for new thoughts and ideas on YouTube. Good for you, my friend.
Yep, good.
And Marvin says he agrees with Cliff on the YouTube search engines. Yes, because they just feed you what you want, right? I tell you what, the big tech loves it when you stay in your little loop of thought. Because if you stay in your little loop of thought, what happens is you never, ever, ever deviate from that. And then you always fight with the other people who have the other same problem, where they stay in their little thought bubble. Yeah. And the more we're fighting, the less we're paying attention to them, the less we're paying attention to what government is doing to us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Long story short, don't stay in your lane.
Don't color in the lines. Get out of the goddamn lines.
Well, it looks like everybody's saying goodnight to us here. So everybody is, Laura says goodnight. Nicole says have a wonderful night. See you next week.
Good night,
have a wonderful evening.
It seems to be, it's a Cinderella moment then.
I guess it's a Cinderella moment. So, Cliff, what do we normally do when we wrap it up?
Well, what we normally do is we tell you how much we appreciate you being here and stuff like that. But since you've been such a bunch of bastards, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, y'all know we appreciate you showing up.
By the way, this
Monday.
is not scripted.
That's right. This is not scripted. I know you wish it was, but thank you for showing up. Monday nights would not be the same without you guys. I speak with the three of us and I tell you, really appreciate you taking the time to spend your time with us on Must Listen Monday. And for whatever reason, if you don't happen to watch it live,
you can listen to us on Soundtrack Radio 10 o'clock on Friday nights, or go right back to YouTube and Facebook, and you can rewatch them there with the comments. And if you missed something, you want to go back and check it out. You had a thought about something that you saw, go check it out. Rewatch us.
And by the way, we will not see you on Monday. We will see you before Monday. Friday, the Ravenwood Music Club, guys. Be there or be square.
Buy your tickets soon.
Yes.
Only $20. You can come see Paul Wojda, who is an award winner, by the way.
So we will see you Monday. We'll be here, but I mean, we'll see you before Monday as well. And Friday at the Ravenwood Music
And Marvin says, looking forward to seeing you on Friday. Yes, indeed, Marvin. Thank you for showing up, you guys. Appreciate it muchly. And more than anything, as I always say, stay happy.
All right, everybody. See you all later. Have a good one.